Welcome back to Pause to Unedit Yourself, a podcast where reflection meets transformation, where we explore the art of becoming one intentional pause at a time. I'm your host, Anoushka, and each episode offers you a chance to press pause and explore bite sized insights and soulful reflections from my own journey of introspection in the hope it will help you too on your path of personal evolution. Whether you're feeling stuck, seeking clarity, or simply wanting to expand, my hope is that this becomes a space of inspiration and deep remembering, guiding you to evolve from within and uncover the infinite potential that lives inside each and every one of you. Firstly, I really want to thank each and every one of you who continue to tune in from all around the world. And I'm so happy that it's reached so many of you and that I've had so much feedback. And it really does warm my heart that these messages reach you when it's needed. So thank you for that. Today, I wanted to deep dive into a topic which has taken me a long time to digest, to put it kindly, and it's a topic which I've struggled with. I think is the way I would put it. Um, and so today I wanted to share my insights and my learnings around it, and that is the art of embracing change. Let's start with the question of what is the comfort zone? It's something that I've been in all my life. When we think of comfort zone, we think that it's a physical space. It's our home, some place where we are comfortable in. But actually, the more I kind of looked into it, it's actually a psychological safety net that has been built by your ego. It's a space of predictability, of habits, of things that feel familiar. And while it actually may feel safe, it's also where dreams go to sleep. You see, your ego, it fears mistakes. So what it does, it clings to what it knows. But your soul came here to grow. And do you know where growth happens? It happens in discomfort, in the space of the unknown. And the very nature of life is uncertainty. And I came across this quote which was around how the degree to which we grow, it's directly linked to the amount of truth we're willing to accept about ourselves. And that truth, when you think about it, often arrives through discomfort, through the unexpected turns, the shifts in identity, and cracks in the familiar. It's in the painful, but nothing is more painful than staying stuck in a version of yourself that you've outgrown. So, how does the comfort zone control your growth? That's something that I sat with for a while. You see, from birth, we've been shaped by layers: family stories, societal norms, unconscious beliefs. Our sense of self is not fixed, it's a construct of all of these accumulated imprints. And as you start to peel back the ego's layers, what happens is that we start to realize that many of our beliefs, these fears, these labels, concepts, stories, and habits, they're literally just the ego's way of keeping us in the box, trying to protect us from the rejection or risk. But do you know something? That same box also limits us to who we're becoming. And growth starts when we start to unmask what is the ego's real desire. And when we realize it, it is to protect. But yes, it is also to control. And once we recognize that, we can give ourselves grace, and then we can decide and we can choose something different for ourselves. So, what does it look like to step out of that comfort zone? I dive deep into this because I loved my comfort zone. All through my life, I've had pockets of comfort zones, from jobs to situations. And each time where I didn't feel the nudges, I was literally just pushed out. I was given kind of no choice around it, where that choice had to be made. And when I sat and I thought about it, and I was like, well, what's the actual truth? What is it that I'm fearing? And in actual fact, yes, there is a part that it is around the unknown that we fear. But also, there is that aspect that we're kind of losing that identity that we have created and we cling to it. And so, stepping into the unknown, it really does take courage because the comfort zone is also where the ego goes to hide when it doesn't want to face itself or face that situation. But identity, you see, is fluid. That's something I want you to ponder on because think about it. You're not who you were yesterday, let alone who you were 5 years ago. We are evolving and growing each and every single moment of your life. You are growing. Growth happens when you are presented with new information. You are growing. And so life has a tendency of presenting us with invitations to grow. Often these invitations, they come in that form of discomfort. They're triggers and disappointments and relationships that really stretch us. And while it might feel that life is testing us, what's really happening is a reflection. It's mirrors showing us where we still feel unsafe, unloved, unseen. It's mirrors revealing where our inner child still longs for healing. Imagine a polished mirror. You look into it and you see your reflection so clearly. Every detail, every imperfection, every spot, every blemish, every truth. But when that mirror is cracked or clouded, what happens is that your reflection, it gets distorted, and you start to see others through your own wounds. You react not to what they did, but to what it brought up in you. Because every irritation, every emotional charge, it's a smudge on that mirror. And most of us have been staring through those smudges for years, assuming that that distortion is our reality. So when someone triggers you, ask yourself, what is this moment reflecting back to me? And I stared in that mirror, and sometimes it's a buried belief that says, I am not enough. And other times it's a forgotten part of you that longs to be seen, and that people around you, especially the difficult ones, they are not enemies, they're messengers. And so cleaning that mirror means sitting with what you see, what is reflected back at you, and not blaming others. And it is choosing your own reflection to examine the stories that your ego has built and ask yourself, are they still true? Every trigger, every discomfort is data. And every time you stop running and choosing to face yourself, you expand, into this deeper, more liberated version of yourself. So the next time you find yourself triggered, don't ask, why are they doing this to me? Instead, ask, what in me is ready to be seen, healed, and released? Because that's where true transformation begins. Another aspect of embracing change is around accepting what you can and can't control. And this is a really hard concept for people to get their heads around. I know it's been for me, and it is what holds us back because life rarely goes according to plan. When I was younger, I had all of these plans. You kind of expect your life to go a certain way, but what I've realized that life doesn't go according to your plan. It goes according to the plan that is best for you. And so when things don't work out the way that you want them to, it is because there is something better for you. And so part of this is understanding that things that you can't control, people change, expectations need to kind of dissolve. And sometimes the timing of things, it does feel painfully out of sync with what your desires are. And I did an episode around divine timing. It's something that I've come to understand a lot more, that it's not according to your timing that you want things to happen out. Time is an illusion. And so things happen when they're meant to. And that's a part that you do have to let go of and that you do have to surrender. And so the more that we try to control every single outcome, what happens is that we end up getting disconnected from that flow that we're meant to be in. But here's the truth. Your peace doesn't come from controlling everything. It comes from surrendering to what is. And so when we resist what we cannot change, what happens is that we suffer. And I've done a deep dive into the topic of suffering in one of my previous episodes. So do go and have a listen to that. And that suffering comes from when we cling to how we thought things should unfold, because we always want things to be in a certain way. So we have that attachment, right? We hold on to it. And then that's what happens, is that we create this tension between the reality and the expectation. And it's actually within this tension that that frustration and the confusion and the disillusionment arises, because we're holding on to something that doesn't quite meet our expectations of what that reality is. And so what I've learned is that there is that aspect of letting go. And I think my nephew loves the song, was it from Frozen? Let It Go. And there's a lot of truth in it. So, it's understanding that letting go is not weakness. Actually, it's wisdom. And it letting go doesn't also mean apathy, it means clarity. It means choosing where to place your energy. Your energy flows where attention goes. So you choose, where do you want to place your energy? Do you want to put it into a leaky bucket? Or do you want to put it somewhere where it's going to grow? And it's also recognizing that you are not responsible for how others show up. And this has actually been a valuable lesson to me, because once you understand that you're not responsible for other people, you are only responsible for how you respond. So what happens is that instead of trying to fix or force, allow people the freedom to be who they are. And not everyone is meant to stay. And that's something that I've learnt. Might do a deep dive into that in a future episode. Some are here to teach you how to hold boundaries. Others remind you of what you no longer need to tolerate. Everyone is a chapter, but not all are meant to be the whole book. And in the surrender, what happens is that you start to find this quieter kind of power. It's the kind that says, you know what? I trust this unfolding. I release what's not mine to carry. I make space for what aligns with who I'm becoming. Because fundamentally, when you embrace change, you realize that change is not a punishment, it is a redirection, a beautiful, divine redirection. You're constantly changing your body, your cells, your thoughts, your beliefs. So, why do we resist this external change so fiercely? When life feels difficult, it's often because you've outgrown that version of yourself. And so you're still clinging to it. And when you resist that evolution, the universe will turn up the volume. Trust me, it will turn up the volume so that you start to listen. And it's not to punish you, but it's literally an alarm bell to wake you up. And, at first it will be like a silent whisper. And then it will be a nudge because you didn't listen to the silent whisper. And then it will be a literal shove out the door. Literally. Um, because staying in your comfort zone, it becomes more painful than stepping out of it. It's like a river, you know, trying to flow through a dam, and you keep resisting that current. And what happens is that pressure it builds. And when you open, when you trust, when you surrender, you begin to flow. You begin to move with life, not against it. And what I want to share is this reminder that you don't have to control everything to be safe. And you don't have to understand everything to be at peace. What if your only job was to stay open, stay present, and stay tuned into what the moment is asking of you? So ask yourself, where am I trying to force what's meant to flow? What am I holding onto that no longer serves my expansion? And can I release the illusion of control and meet life with trust? Because that's where the real power lies. It's not in holding on, but in letting go. I used to fear change a lot, and it wasn't until my 10-day silent Vipassana meditation last year that was the first time that I was actually sitting in silence with only my thoughts, that I came face to face with this undeniable truth, the paradox that the only constant is change. It's actually the universal law. The only constant is change. Everything is temporary. Every feeling, every failure, every moment of joy, nothing stays. Nothing is permanent. Think about a river flowing, and you're standing on the side of a bank, seeing that river flow in motion. And you come back to that river the next day. Think about it. Is that the same river? Place may look to you physically the same, but it's not the same river. That river is in constant motion. Those water droplets uh, are moving constantly. The banks of the river are in constant motion. Think about the cycle of life, the nature of the season. Beneath the ground, the earth is in constant motion, growing, dying. It's all in constant motion. Even our cells die and born again every single day. We are in constant motion. And so, since the day we are born, we are changing and evolving. And you are not the same person you were yesterday. Each day, you are growing with more information and insights, and parts of you no longer serve you, die. And what I came to realize that it's not something to fear. It is actually something to be liberated. Why? Because impermanence means nothing is fixed. Nothing is final. Each moment is an opportunity to begin again. Think about it. Everyone says, well, when you wake up in the morning, it's a new day, it's a new beginning. Impermanence is not a loss, it's liberation. It means your past doesn't define your future because you are able to create your future in the present moment. It means that any given moment, you can become someone new. And that's the liberation. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to be willing to take a chance, take the next step. Because all we're going to see in front of us is that next step. That path is a pathless path. And only the next step in front of us gets illuminated at each step. So it's not the change that is painful, it's actually our resistance to change. So, as always, I like to try and give some practical mindset reframes for you. First one, change isn't something that happens to you, it's something that happens through you. When you shift your energy, your beliefs, your way of being, the world around you begins to shift in response. You don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. Two, you don't need permission to change, you need courage. The only person who can give you that green light is you. Change, it begins with that single decision. I am ready now. Even if you're scared, and especially if you're scared. And three, impermanence. It's your greatest ally. And so think about it this way. What if the most profound legacy was the way your soul expressed itself here and now in this brief moment of existence? Think about that. And here are 4 action steps that I want to share with you that have helped me embrace change. The first one, whenever I'm feeling a shift, is to sit with it and realize that you are not stuck. When things kind of get overwhelming, when you are anxious, just remember you're standing on the edge of a new chapter. And so ask yourself, what in my life no longer feels aligned? What am I being invited to release, to create space for the new? And, whether it's a habit, a relationship, or a belief, declutter what no longer serves you and make room for what's meant for your becoming. Three, ground yourself in the present. And I can't express this enough. Feel your way forward. I always, and I've said this in previous episodes, I always try and either, go for a walk barefoot on the grass or do some kind of grounding activities because when the path feels unclear, it is about returning to your breath. It really helps to return to the now, this present moment. because it's from here that the future unfolds from the present. So take one breath, one step, and one moment at a time. And finally, it's a hard one, but trust, trust the unfolding. You don't need to see the whole path. You just need to see the next step and the next. And that's all, one step at a time. And as the saying goes, the purpose of life is to grow, and the adventure of life is to learn. The nature of life is to change. So today I leave you with this pause. What is change trying to teach you right now? What part of you is afraid to let go and who you are becoming in the process? Remember, you are not stuck. You're simply standing at the edge of this new chapter, waiting to choose yourself. And once you take that first step to get out of your comfort zone, you will realize it was only the fear of losing yourself that you feared. And once you face yourself and realize that the identity and beliefs that you hold on to so dearly no longer serve you, you will start to shift and you will start peel back all those layers and you will embrace who you really are, one step at a time, one day at a time, one moment at a time. You will start shifting those perspectives and you will start to get those new patterns of thoughts, and your thoughts will create a new experience. Thank you so much for your time today and sharing this space. And thank you for pressing pause and choosing to journey inward and daring to become the highest expression of yourself. As always, I use these episodes as reminders for myself, like mini guides that you can refer to whenever you need to check in with yourself for a moment of recalibration. So feel free to save them and please do share them with someone who might need to hear them. And I really value your feedback. So please do share your comments and feedback, as it will help me to know what resonates for you and what you would like to hear more of. See you on the next episode.